Let's play the percentages here with a variety of these quarterbacks. And let's start with Tom Brady. Percentage chance he comes out of retirement, if he's even in retirement, Peter.
42%. I don't think it's a lock. I don't think it's a gimme. But I think in the right circumstances, he would consider it.
I think that whether it's this year or next year, I'd say it's 75%. This year, I'll say it's 60% that he comes out. I really think
is a lot.
I think that if it's not this year, it'll be next year. I think he's got one more year of football in him at least somewhere. And I think if he sits out this year, he will be sufficiently tormented that the only way he can rectify those feelings would be to come back and play in 2023. I really do believe that.
Wouldn't it be fun irony if Daniel Jones bombs out this year and Brian Daboll says, come to Broadway, come and lead the team that is the only team that, basically ruined your life twice. Come and help us win a big one in 2023. That would be
awesome. That would be awesome. And look, 2 years ago, when he was a free agent, there was just kind of this, what's he really have left? And the 49ers said no thanks, and I'm sure they regret that every single hour of every single day. But I think we accept the fact he can still get it done now, and if he would take a year off, he'd be able to still get it done in 2023. The guy had 5,000 passing yards, for crying out loud, at age 44. All right, percentage chance that Aaron Charles...
Can I just say one last thing? Can I say one?
Sure.
Can I say one last thing? I'm sorry, but can you imagine if he did go to San Francisco? First of all, I think he would still be on the team right now, and they would have won at least one in the last 2 years and have a decent chance to win another one. I don't want to torment anybody, but I've been thinking about that a lot ever since he retired. But anyway, go ahead.
I think that's where he wants to go. I think if he plays this year, he's playing for the 49ers. And it gives Trey Lance another year to sit. They say see you later to Jimmy Garoppolo. They have a Super Bowl-ready team. They just need a quarterback who can make big throws in big spots, and we know that Brady can. All right, percentage chance that Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay.
Like I said earlier in the show, I was leaning no way until I saw what Ian Rappaport reported last night, that the Packers and Rodgers' agent are working on a short-term contract. I would say now it's 60%.
Yeah, and I'll actually go 70%. And it's rising for me every day that we don't have an answer from Aaron Rodgers. I think at the end of the day, he is going to stay with the Packers. He's going to realize the grass is no greener anywhere else. He said to Pat McAfee a few weeks back, the grass is greener if you water it, and they're watering the hell out of it in Green Bay to get him to stick around. Percent chance the Cardinals and Kyler Murray work out an extension this offseason, Peter?
I mean, I don't think it's a great idea, but it sounds like they might be forced into doing that to reinforce their love to a disaffected employee. I'd say 65%.
Yeah, I think that I hate to copy you, but that seems right. That seems right. And it may be a short-term extension. Maybe that's the way to do it, although it's always in the team's interest to lock the guy up for as many years as possible because most of the money is paid out early in the deal. Percentage chance Trey Lance is the week 1 starter for the San Francisco 49ers?
88.6. I just think that, right now that the 49ers have cast their lot with Trey Lance, and Kyle Shanahan is going to work every minute of every offseason day that he devotes to football to making sure that Trey Lance on September 11th, I think it is ready to play a winning football game.
I'm going to say 70% because there's a part of me that believes that's where Brady's going to go if he unretires, if he's even retired. And I still think, and I said this a few weeks ago, and Schefter mentioned it last week, I don't think the door's completely shut on Jimmy Garoppolo. Jed York, the owner of the team, in justifying the decision to keep Garoppolo around last year said, hey, if we ultimately invest $50 million over the next 2 years to allow Trey Lance to develop, so be it. I think they're prepared to keep Garoppolo if they decide that's the right thing to do, and I don't rule it out at this point. So whether it's Garoppolo or Brady,
if they don't, I'll say
that
this,
would be
Mike,
the alternative.
I'll say this. If they don't get a 1 in an offer for him, I would not trade him. I would bring him back, much to Garoppolo's chagrin, but I would not trade him. But I would play Trey Lance this year and have Garoppolo as the $1 jillion insurance policy. Mike, for all those people who say, oh, Garoppolo's not worth a 1, he can't stay healthy, he's not good enough, I get it. You've got to line up in week 1 with a quarterback. If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers with the 20th pick in the draft and you can get a quarterback who is 25% better than Mason Rudolph and 45% better than Dwayne Haskins, why in the world wouldn't you do it? That's why some team out there is going to give a first-round pick for Garoppolo.
I wouldn't want to give a first-round pick for a guy who is injury-prone and is entering the final year of his contract. I'd want to get him signed to a new contract if I'm going to make that investment, or I'd want to do a deal that hinges the ultimate compensation on how many games he's available to play in 2022. That's exactly what the Colts did. That's what the Colts did last year with Carson Wentz, and that brings us to the last one. Percentage chance that Wentz is traded by the Colts by March 18.
73%. You know, there's just too much out there right now. It's too obvious. Whereas I'm not sure it'll happen by mid-March. I bet it's 50-50 by mid-March. But by draft day, I'd say it's 80%. You know, the Colts have had multiple opportunities to say that, we don't necessarily think that Chris Mortensen is right. We don't think that all these rumors out there are right. They have said zip. So what are we supposed to believe? Really, what are we supposed to believe? I believe that it's true that they probably will move on from Carson Wentz. I definitely wouldn't pay a 1 for him, but I would take the best offer I could. Somebody out there is going to pay you a 2 for Carson Wentz. Look, if Sam Darnold got a 2, a 4, and a 6, how in the world can Carson Wentz not get a 2?
I think it's 80% he's traded by March 18. I think it's 0% he's on the roster week 1, and I think it all comes from the top of the organization. Jim Irsay, I believe, is exasperated with Carson Wentz, both due to his performance, his injury history, and we see why he gets injured. He tries to do too much. He's not willing to pull the plug on a play and hit the deck, and that gets him injured. And then you throw in the vaccination stuff that I think Irsay's still upset about from last year, and I think Irsay does not want him around.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.